Welcome to the Talking podcast. That's right. We'll be talking about music, albums, live shows, bands we love, bands not so much. Again, we're talking Join me, Scott Nokon, and Stephen James. After a while, it gets kind of played out, gets kind of old to bash on, the Grammys and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because for me personally, my expectations have pretty much dwindled away. There we go.
Yeah,
dwindled away into anything expecting this is what I want and I like, and this is what should be on there. Yeah, it's when you look at it, recently. So we talked about how certain artists, because of reunion tours, Oasis, did that help their panache and get nominated? Possibly because they weren't being thought about. Yeah, wow. They weren't being thought of for years, where Motley Crue, I think, has kind of hurt their legacy after retiring. But you still can't deny. Part of it now, it's more, and we talk about this a lot every show, is just obviously that this show really is an homage to our love of music, right? All things music. Talking is more a matter of play on words, but it's really just something that seeing bands now. That's why I went and saw Billy Idol. I'd never seen Billy Idol. How much more is he going to tour? Let's go do it.
This guitar player was 16 years old when he first started in this band. And it just reminds me of being a kid when I first started playing in a band. I was 17 in a heavy metal band playing Waters Club. And, it was just a dream come true to be able to do all that kind of stuff.
How is this guy not in, as a, not just as a vocalist, but as a drummer, and the impact he's had on. So again, it's wildly, insanely difficult to understand how all this comes together. He didn't bail out on anything, but he didn't go off stage and suck down oxygen. Because he didn't leave the stage once during that whole time.
That's amazing. That's where I think Kiss was very vocal about how it's so tweaky. Like, is it fixed? When you look back a little bit, and I don't take too much time on this, but let's say Deep Purple, for instance.
We'll talk about in a bit, are you a Brian Johnson or are you a Bon Scott? Decidedly,
I have my druthers.
Strong opinions on both.
I have my druthers.
Throughout the show, fantastic show, when they started playing songs, again, screaming, like,
that's crazy.
I was like, wow, I had pride. I'm like, we're the same age as this band.
Absolutely.
It's like that's how long they've been out. And so there was a sense of pride, and they played the show, and it was fantastic. And energy the entire time just went straight through. Chino barely spoke. And when he did, it was just appreciation and smiles. Like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And others have said, it's not that genre completely just annihilated hair metal, which it did, but it didn't. It didn't do it because it was so different. It did it just because it was just better music, right? It just, at this point, everything was kind of played out.
I haven't had Limp Bizkit in many, many years.
Understood. Again, obviously capped. The evening's capped with Metallica, but I'm going to go off of memories. So for this evening, we were going to focus on the year of 1981, the year heavy music took over. 1981 wasn't just another year in rock history. It was a turning point, Stephen. Legends redefined themselves, new icons emerged, albums were released that still shape heavy music today, from the Dio era, Black Sabbath, which I love, to the rise of Iron Maiden and the peak of arena rock dominance. This episode breaks down albums that made 1981 unforgettable. For that, what we're going to do is why it matters. Again, getting into the early 80s, there was definitely I think a purposeful pivot, right? From 70s and hard rock, where metal became more defined, more prominent. The production got better. There was an introduction to heavier music overall. And those definitely were a convergence. What we're going to do is kind of break down what we think, and shocker, there might be some overlap, but what we think were the kind of top releases of 1981, and then also we'll dig into some of the key facts around it. Also dig into kind of the album sales. That was prominent. That obviously predates streaming by decades. And so, the actual physical album sales, some of these, not even by chance, it's kind of, coincidental. There's 3 I'm looking at my wall. I'll do a picture of Stephen, but there's 3 that I'm going to talk about that I have displayed up on my wall. In that,
just real quick, a little interjection. Freshman in high school in 1981. So
yeah, so
old mother father.
I was not a freshman in high school in 1981. I would have been, well, let's see. No, I didn't graduate high school till 88. Okay. So I would have been in what, 6th grade?
3 years younger.
5th grade? 5th?
2nd?
I could have been 11 years old in 2nd grade. That is possible. Yeah. I in time, and it took time, I finally kind of developed and got beyond remedial math and reading. But even to this point, the speaking aspect, I still haven't really dialed that in. But you can go way back. We're 70 episodes in. There's like episode 2 or 3 when we talk about kind of our development or lack thereof in life and then into music, and what kind of spawned our interest and took us down the path. And here we are today talking about 81. So Stephen, I would like to pass to you. And in no particular order, but just kind of mention what would be of interest to you as far as 1981. Is it our top 5? Is there a mixture? Feel free just to kind of just talk.
Yeah. These are albums that, as I reflect back, paved the way. And I've mentioned this in several episodes of where I'm at with my music today.
Yeah.
I'm 58 and I still crank metal in my truck. I'm sure people of the past decades still crank Sinatra in their truck or car or whatever.
Yeah.
But these albums, and again, my brother, 4 years older than I, turned me on to progressive rock in the 70s. Not that I didn't have my own wherewithal with what I listened to, which Kiss, blah, blah, blah. But one of the bands that really stood out that kind of drove me really to play drums is Rush. And that album is Moving Pictures.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was kind of like the poignant album that kind of really brought them into mainstream. They're shortly after they did an album, and we were talking about not doing live albums, but there is a live album shortly thereafter called Exit Stage Left. And I'll always kind of go back to that. I'm going to bounce back and forth for a little bit. Although Neil Peart is truly one of my all-time why I play drums. Geddy Lee was also why I picked up a bass guitar and learned how to play bass as well. And if anybody ever gets the chance to listen to a really yummy fucking bass tone, I guess we're past the 5-minute mark. I can say the F word. Apologies for those that don't care for that.
We are good. Yeah.
Exit Stage Left. Listen to the bass tone in Red Barchetta. It is so pristine. And that sound does not to this day. It's a little more, has a little bit more distortion and whatever. Anyway, I don't know the details. But the bass tone on that song just really just lit me up. And that whole album, my brother turned me on to, from beginning to end, is truly one of the pivotal albums that brought me to life in 1981 as of a rock and roll heavy metal drummer.
So for Metallica, it's, since it varies, they have enough songs. There might be a repeat like Master of Puppets on Thursday and then again on Saturday, but everything else, it could be completely different. So I looked like at the Syracuse and then the show up in Toronto, and it was decidedly different sets. So I don't even know what to expect, right? Obviously I want to hear Battery. And with the second release, Mob Rules, love it. Turn Up the Night is fantastic, and that really set me down the path. Heavy Energy, just really, that Sabbath hit harder than a lot of people expected. That they had gone down a precipitous decline with the albums preceding Dio's arrival. And Ozzy, well publicized, just wasn't good records. Technical ecstasy and stuff like that.
Throughout the show, fantastic show, when they started playing songs, again, screaming, like,
that's crazy.
I was like, wow, I felt I had pride. I'm like, we're the same age as this band.
Absolutely.
It's like that's how long they've been out. And so there was a sense of pride, and they played the show, and it was fantastic, and energy the entire time just went straight through. Chino barely spoke. And when he did, it was just appreciation and smiles. Like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
My next go-to,
yeah.
should we be in the same lane, is Iron Maiden Peace of Mind, which was, and I love all the there you go. I love all the Iron Maiden albums. I love actually up until Peace of Mind, probably a couple more, but that sang to me when I was a kid, because I was going through a lot of crap, and that pulled me into a happiness. Listening to those songs from front to back. Such a good
Peace of Mind is an absolute classic.
So Lee Thomas Miller, who I'll talk to more in a second, is sitting to my left. Kelly Archer is sitting right behind me, and Jimmy Yeary is sitting to my other side. All professional songwriters, award-winning, millions of records sold. Lee Thomas Miller, hey, Scott, you're making me feel nervous.
Oh, fuck.
And I look over, I go, here's the thing. I go, here's the thing, Lee. If I make you, what did I say? It was like that. That's where I was off the cuff. So that's where I need to see the video. But basically I said, hey, who knows if this was even like coherent, but hey, if I'm super nervous and you're nervous, this will be a piece of cake. Now, that may have made no sense, but it was just the thing to say.
Makes sense to me.
That's our take on the Mount Rushmore of heavy metal singers. Whether you're raising your horns in agreement or screaming at the speakers because we left your favorite out, that's what makes these conversations fun, right?
Absolutely.
Steven, you threw in Corey Taylor. I threw in Jeff Tate. It's your turn now, guys. Listen and comment below. Who's on your Mount Rushmore? Yeah. Do you agree with our list? Is it somebody completely different? Again, Halford, Dickinson, Dio, Osborne. Hit us up on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook. We're there, but you can definitely on YouTube, once this is posted, leave your comments below. Send us a message. Tell us what you want to hear. What maybe are your list beyond that? We'll certainly do a reaction and comment based on that. Make sure you follow, share, podcast, comment, do all that stuff. Send it to your friends. We appreciate all that.
We have to actually, one of our shows, we should divulge into why is it there's so much ugliness with it, because I've heard several bands talk about like this, that, the other. I'm like, whether is it because they got snubbed or I don't understand it. I've heard it over the past 5-6 years, like, oh, it's ugly, and I'm like, I don't understand.
That probably stands out as my favorite track on this record. Just riff heavy, just dripping, as this description says, dripping with lust and attitude.
What I liked about that recording is that you got to hear everything. Mixes today are big and bold, but when you hear that old Motley Crue album, you really could just hear each one of them.
Be it the Ramones, Sex Pistols, the Clash, the Damned, what was their impact on creating this foundation? Highlight CBGB's in New York as the birthplace of the American punk scene. In 76, was that kind of the year punk exploded? Some influences, kind of proto-punk bands. I know you mentioned Talking Heads, which I think that's interesting, but the Stooges and MC5, that predates everything. And then some of the bigger tracks, Blitzkrieg Bop, the Ramones, London Calling, the Clash. God Save the Queen, Sex Pistols, how much of an impact and influence from the early stages, and then where did it lead to when things eventually started to break out, in the later years, still in the 70s, but as you got into the 80s with kind of the LA and Orange County explosion.
Again, we wanted to spend a few minutes with you guys today just highlighting the band The Who. If you're a fan, then you know what we're talking about. And if you're not, we invite you again, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're hearing this on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere you can stream, just plug it in and pull it up, and maybe pick like
their best of or their greatest hits. That'll give you a good representative of the tracks. And again, if you're a rock fan, you've certainly heard most, if not all, of these songs. So it's an iconic band.
I don't shun any music. I'm all about, like, you know what? This song makes it rock. That song makes it rock. This song makes you feel good. That song makes you feel good. You know what? It's all about taste. And we are musicians, and we don't discriminate against anything.
I don't know. Is it just gatekeepers and elitists that think that it's lesser music, and so it doesn't warrant that? When you really break it down, it's some of the best musicians in the world. Other genres and styles absolutely can represent themselves, but yeah, you said it. Make this the Music Hall of Fame.
It was interesting to see that, they just like that money grab. I went to look at what the ticket pricing was, and it was through the roof. They have these VIP packages, $1,200 a piece, but it just, to me, was like, it was just a cash grab. I was like, man. Before I looked at the price, I said, yours for only $1,900.99. But it was like $400 or $500 for this box set.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just cash. I mean, they don't need more money. Why should I have to pay? You should pay me to come visit you.
Yeah. And that's been like the ongoing joke for years.
Back in the early 80s, on Sunset Strip, on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it was packed.
Mm-hmm.
People were cruising back and forth. This was by the clubs, Rainbow, Gazzari's,
Roxy, all right.
Yeah. And every band that wanted to be a band, all you saw was hair metal, and everybody was just handing out flyers. I did it with my bands.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it was such a freaking cool time to be able to
cool.
It was so cool because everybody was happy.
Saw the value. And and it just kind of goes back to, having that appreciation for what you do. A big part of it. And you go in and people clock in and clock out, or they sit behind a desk, or they do a job walk, and they sit in traffic and they drive different places. It's all your perspective. It's all what you choose, because I firmly believe if you don't like what's happening to you, do something about it.
Again, like I said, For Those About to Rock is probably my favorite AC/DC album, right? But if I was on an island, I'd probably pick this one because, to your point, it's a no skip. Everything is top to bottom quality. It's pretty uplifting, most of the things.
Yeah.
It made the list. That was an easy one.
That's awesome.
Bottom. Absolutely.
Steven, honorable mention for you.
My honorable mention is Motorhead Overkill.
Okay.
Because why? And I've mentioned, I think, in a post or two, that what led me to play double bass was Filthy Phil. And I don't know the drummer's name for Fast as a Shark, but that doesn't matter.
Thanks again for tuning in to the show. We'll be back every week with a brand new episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Talking SHHH Show, and also listen on Spotify or wherever you can stream a podcast. See ya.